Everybody, and welcome to TSO Daily. I'm your host, Mr. Craven. All right, so PTS is live, and one of the major things I always try to do is try to test configurations and go over things. Now, I haven't had any sponsors request anything for Sponsor Friday, so I figured, well, since I didn't get any requests for this Sponsor Friday, we're going to do something a little different. And I've been wanting to test a new configuration, and I thought, a lot of people don't understand how I come up with certain builds and how I test and how I decide, okay, is this going to be easily accessible? Is this something common players are going to be able to access, and is it going to be worthy? Morning, Mustang. So one of the major things always on a PTS when I'm going over, I usually go over test configurations. I usually take off what people typically would use or call meta, and I test usually those type of configurations against what I'm trying to do, and I go static value across the board so I can calculate. Unfortunately, my FTS is bugged on PTS. I hope that's not going to transfer live. Hi, Robert. Morning. And so one of the major sets that I'm going to be taking a look at today is going to be, believe it or not, and one of my subs tuned me into the idea of Succession. And I was like, given the fact that we're looking at Asylum staff, that should set. I don't know. I haven't tested it, so it's one of those configurations I want to test today. For the Sork and run it with the 5 infal. Now, last night I worked with one of my guilds, a progression guild. So we did trials, and I was, trying to teach them a couple of things. We did good on the one trial, and it's like, but it's progression. So I don't anticipate a lot, and I just want to help others. That's what I'm in this game for. So, good job to the team last night. They did good. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get into the overland sets because that's a big one for us. Okay. So already had the light. Okay. Where is it? I want to say it's an overland set. I'd have to look it up. Where's the coffee? It's right beside me. Believe I have it. Believe it. Is it a dungeon? It can't be a dungeon set. I know it's not a dungeon set. No way. That would suck if I don't have access to the set. Let me take a look. Let me look it up. Succession set. I should have access to it. Oh, it should be a trial set, actually. It's a Maelstrom Arena set. Shit! I don't... Yes, it is. It is a fucking Maelstrom, and they didn't give me my Maelstrom sets. Bullshit! Bullshit! I have a few pieces. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. And they didn't give me access to it. Because it's not in dungeon sets either. So you got Maelstrom's weapons, but we don't have the sets. Let me take a look. I don't think it's in here. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. That sucks. So I'm going to actually have to go live sometime on my PC or on my PS4 because that's where my succession set is. Morning, Lewis. Because it's not. Yeah. We don't have access to it on PTS. Sucks. It sucks. Oh my gosh. That just blows. That just sucks so bad. But the idea is this. Okay. Succession. Let me read this off. I wish they would have given me that. Jeez. Morning, Ronnie. Because that's the thing, too. Like, if I'm missing any pieces, I have to go back in. Which is fine. I got to farm up Hunt anyways. Like a jewelry and a sword. Hunt. So I got to go back in VMA. Puke. To get a couple pieces. Not that I look forward to it. But I have to. But anyways. Let's read this off. Okay. And it is cold up here. So if I, you know, coughing a lot. I think I'm getting sick too. Okay, so let me read this. This is crazy. Max Magicka, spell damage, Max Magicka. Now listen, this is why we're taking this in consideration. While I'm in combat, I gain a rotation bonus to flame, shock, or frost damage. The active element changes every 4 seconds. Your attacks dealing damage with the active element gains 515 spell damage. Now, why is that relevant to the Asylum staff? It's very important. Because when we take a look at the Asylum destruction staff, and you would want the single target, you would want the Inferno staff. And I'll get into why I'm going to be doing this. Excuse me. Okay. So, for example, when I use the Asylum staff, every third cast of Force Shock will always apply a status effect, right? The elemental damage from Succession would apply the extra spell damage. So you're actually, and when we take a look at the abilities itself for Force Shock, right? You would use Force Pulse. And this is huge because focus all elements energies within your staff and blast enemy for flame, frost, and shock. So you're getting all three effects as Succession's rotating. So the bonus is always going to be applied to this ability specifically. So basically, you're amping up the Force Pulse is what you're doing through the Succession is what initially you're doing. So it's just amplifying that ability. Downsides to that, and this is why I had to test it, because it wouldn't necessarily apply the set effects to other properties, because during the rotation, if I'm on lightning and my liquid lightning goes down, then guess what ends up happening? I don't get a bonus during the flame and the frost rotation. Taking a poll, who many new, or you mean how many, new Magplar bandwagon hoppers do you predict will pop up? I don't know. That'd be interesting. I mean, they needed a little bit of help, but it shouldn't really change too much. I mean, everybody just gets like whatever. It's becoming like World of Warcraft flavor of the month. It's like flavor of the patch, I guess. It's kind of sad, actually. So, I mean, ideally speaking, what I would want to do is kind of couple this, right? I mean, that's the big one with Succession. And I need to test it. I have Succession on the thing, but now I'm going to have to go throughout that whole rotation, making sure I have all the gear parameters. Now, another set I want to go ahead and pair with it, ideally speaking, would be, my Infal. So let's go into light armor sets. We would use the infallible mage set. I want to say it is Right. Now look, the reason being, you only need one person with this set if you're going to roll this set in a trial, a 5-piece bonus set. The reason being is simple, right? It applies minor vulnerability with 100% application. 100% application throughout the rotation. That boosts your entire DPS by 8%. Buggier flavored patch. Yeah. So I'm always telling people, like, I will always roll at least 1 DPS with this type of setup. I'm just going to grab the entire sets. I'll show you kind of what I mean, where I'm going with this. I can put the Necro on, but the Necro is not ideally what I'm using or wanting to use. Okay. All right. Now, where was I? Oh, the weapons. I need that staff. So I need the lightning staff now of the infallible ether. All right. Now, I would put the infallible lightning staff on one end. I would keep the asylum inferno on the next, right? Ideally speaking. Now, I don't know if what's what because I haven't tested it. I haven't got a chance to. It's what I wanted to do today. But yo, Zoss, man, can I please get access to the Maelstrom friggin' equipment? Like, you gave me the weapons, you didn't give me the gear. I want to take a look at the succession. That would be awesome. That would be like the bomb. Can't test stuff if I don't have access to it on PTS. It's the whole idea. Now, ideally speaking, you would still have, the idea is you'd have 4 pieces of gear, right? So let's say I have my 5 Necropotents. 1, we're going to switch that out with Infal, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can put the shoulders of Kina, ideally. Well, I would put heavy, so I get that passive to the Undaunted bonus. So let me go ahead and do that. For the extra spell damage. Okay, so while I'm on this side, you notice I have that staff up. Now, Necropotents you would have to have it at a static rate unless you wanted to use the other staff. But ideally, you want to use Asylum within succession. That's ideally what you're trying to accomplish. Keeping it up so you get the switch out in the rotation. And then on the back end, you would have the Infallible 5. So when I do the switch, for my heavy attack rotation, now you see I have a 5, right, of the Infal. It's kind of important. So my single target increases by the Inferno, right, because of the passives. So when I go into the Destruction Staff and I take a look at, okay, right here, Flame Staff, increase the damage done with single target abilities by 8%. Okay, single target's going to be an 8%. That's why you want it. You want your Force, Pulse on Inferno, right? Simple. You're getting 8% increase. Add that to Succession. The bonus is going to be applied to one effect throughout the rotation. Simple. Lightning Staff, AoE is on the back bar. 8% to AoE damage. Okay? So now we have our, like, you know, for example here, all this. Now, I'm just, like, kind of giving you an example because I don't have the set. So it sucks. Like, so say I have my Liquid Lightning. So let's say I put that there. We know my wall is going to go on this bar as well. Destructive Touch, you could put on it if you wanted to, but that's going to be these are going to be personal preferences on that element. Okay, so I always use kind of like the Elemental Rage as one of my ultimates. It's a good AoE one. So, oh, Mage's Guild. I need my Inner Light on both bars. Okay. I usually go with like a D-Gen too, depending, but it's a couple more abilities that I need to whatever. You can max out if you want with the bound, getting more max magicka. Run pet build, whatever is whatever. But for example, this would have to be on there. I would need my Fury, I would need my Force, my Frag, or Wrath or whatever. Wrath's usually a better one, especially on this heavy attack. Okay, and then your Force right here. If you had a pet, it would go there, right? Then your shield system, if you were going to use something like that. But if you were going to do something like that, you would do that. You can go with Hardening. I like this one, the Empowering for the regen, but whatever. To each their own. So, something like that, I guess you'd say. But, anywho, the whole idea is this. Okay, so as you guys can see, I'm on the Inferno side, right? Once I do a heavy attack, you're going to see it turn purple. That's the vulnerability. Morning, Rock. Hey, Mystic. ND, everyone. Are you testing configuration? I wanted to, but I don't have access to the one set I was hoping to have access to. It's for Maelstrom Arena, which I have it on my PS4, and I thought, oh, you know, I need to test that Succession. Yeah, I don't have access to it. Anywho, I'm just going to show this here. Okay, once I get that up and I do that, that would apply, right? And then I could switch throughout my rotation. But you'll see the damage increase. Okay. Heavy attack. 1-7. 1-7. 1-7. Now watch till it drops off. Now look. We're losing 137 a hit from the vulnerability not being applied. That goes across the board to everybody, right? So the idea of Succession is to magnify the elemental damage of your force. Now, is that going to be plausible, and is it going to be more beneficial against sets that like Necropotence or Julianos? That's what I wanted to test today. The problem with trying to configure out new configurations is whether you're going to get more of an acceptable benefit from one set that's going to apply, right? Because you got to take a look at your metrics to see if the damage is outperforming your current configuration. Julianos has more flexibility because the spell damage is across the board, not applied to set, effect, or status. That's kind of relevant. So when I'm taking a look at configurations, I have to say, okay, how much more damage on a frequency am I gaining? I need metrics for that. There's certain things you cannot eyeball. You can't eyeball it and assume that this is a better type of configuration. You have to take those out of consideration. You literally have to say, okay, is this justifiable for me? You know, for example, like if I go ahead and I pull out that pet, and now I'm just going ahead and hitting. I'm hitting 18-6. Now, mind you, this isn't like anything like whatever. Now, when I do a heavy attack, I get the minor vulnerability, and I switch out. If I can get a base. Oh, I lost it. $18,600. Okay. Man. Trying to keep it up. See if it drops off. See what we're doing. 17. So we're losing 137 from one effect per hit. Now, heavy attack build. I am using a similar type of build here, and I'll show you what I'm doing with my heavy attack build currently. Okay. So one of the attack builds that I'm using with Infal, if I have to use it, is... I can find it. This is the Elegance set. Did I pull Elegance out? Maybe I did. Let me see. No. Morning, Todd. That's in math, though. Is 8% more damage on X spell damage more than the spell damage increase from the rotating set? Well, that's the issue, Ronnie. Because when you use one person with Infal, you lose. What ends up happening, you'll lose a little bit on your effects personally, based on the 8% loss. But what you're doing, you're magnifying 7 other DPS by 8%. So you lose a little. Like, for example, if I was to take Juliano's, I'd deal more damage, right? That's true. It's true. It's true all day. But what I'm actually doing in turn, dude, Tim, if I suck, do you know who I healed for yesterday, Tim? I'll block him if he keeps it up. Don't worry, guys. We're not dealing with trolls anymore. I actually healed for Deltia yesterday. It was cool. No death on the DK healer. Thumbs up on Mystic. What's up? What's up? City of Ash 2, vet hard mode. No deaths. 0. DK healer. Yeah. It's what we do. It's what I do here. Anyways, Ronnie, you're right on that aspect. But only thing I'm doing is basically amping my entire team's DPS by 8% without changing their configuration. That's the best part of it. It's the best of both worlds, right? So, you know, we take a look, and everybody's like, oh, you know, you could do this and do that. But getting that minor vulnerability, that's hard. You know, you have, it's not easy, but when you have a 5 Infal, when you have 1/5 Infal with a heavy attack rotation, it's the applied effect. It's guaranteed. There's not a question of it. So if somebody has a heavy end attack rotation and one person, think of it like in the aspect of Night Mothers, once that 8%'s applied, that's going to be applied to the entire party. That's big. That adds up. I gotta switch that out. It's messing me up. See, I'm not gonna get it on that one. See, that's the nice thing about the, when I hit over, I can switch out and do the nice heavy attack with the rotation. That's what I like about it. %, on 830K SPA is almost 20K extra damage. Depends on who you're playing with, right, Tom? And that's the thing. So long as there's not another source of minor vulnerability, right, Ronnie? Exactly. But the thing about it is, any other source of minor vulnerability is chance applied. That's what infal takes out of the equation. Infal actually goes ahead and applies the 100% application. So that's why it's beneficial to at least have one party with a 5-piece set. The only bad thing is, if you're running that with a 5-3-2 config, you're going to end up losing way more damage because you don't have a double 5. You got to think of it in in terms of a healer. You're not really you don't really want a proc set. You want to magnify the potential of static DPS and keep the heavy attack rotation for the applied effect. That's what you're essentially doing. So, it's basically just like you would do with the healer. You have Spell Power, Cure, and Worm set up, right? They have a 5. They have no monster proc. Why? Both effects are always applied. Same thing with one player where in 5 infal. You don't want them to give up too much damage because then that's counterproductive. So, but you want to go ahead and magnify your team's DPS by using the 100% guaranteed uptime. Anything with the minor vulnerability, right, has the chance. Right? Infal's guaranteed. So anytime I do ahead and do a heavy attack rotation, that's applied 100%. Hey, Digital, what's up, man? Welcome to the stream. Tim, literally, dude, did you hear what I was healing with and who I was playing with? Seriously, man. Just, I'll do everybody a favor. This guy is such a troll.